What's up, everybody, and welcome to BioWise 3 Raw TV. We got the marker board out today, guys. We got something big going on. I put up a post on my Instagram, which I share a lot of stuff on Instagram, so if you guys are not following me, go follow me in there. There's some funny shit, there's some not funny shit, there's some factual shit, there's some whatever the fuck shit, there's random shit. But there was a study done, and it's actually been more than one study done now, that actually proved that you can actually lose body fat and gain muscle at the same time, which years ago when I came out and said that, there was a bunch of people that were in, not in the science community, because let me get this straight, these guys are not scientists. They're fucking YouTubers who claim to fucking know science. So maybe they took a fucking science class here and there, maybe they didn't, who knows. Bottom line, what the fuck was that? Bottom line is, they were no more a fucking scientist than I am. But they claim to know science and say science says you have to be in a caloric deficit in order to lose fat. A caloric surplus in order to gain muscle. And of course there was no studies or anything done at that time where but this is what happens. I've seen it happen. Now it was my theory that you're technically not in a caloric deficit throughout the entire day, nor a surplus throughout the entire day. You're also catabolic and anabolic throughout the day at different times. The body shifts and changes. So therefore there's going to be actual points in the day where your body's anabolic or catabolic. It's not one or the other, and you're either in a surplus or a deficit based on what's going on with that. So taking that information and, you know, putting stuff like that up, and people are flipping their fucking wigs saying it's not possible, Jerry, you're fucking crazy. But it happened with me. It happened with my clients. My clients get stronger. And I realized there was a very basic way of thinking, like reduce your calories, you're in a deficit, lose weight. Increase your calories, you're in a surplus, you gain weight. But they didn't really understand that the stress of the training, the timing of the foods, the certain foods, the efficiency of the digestion, all these things actually come into play with a high-level athlete, like a bodybuilder. Now, that being said, this last competition that I did for Team Universe, I started at about, I think it was like 200 pounds, 205, 200 to 205. And I dieted down to 181 pounds. Now what anyone that watched that journey in those vlogs noticed is my strength was increasing as I was dieting until about 2 weeks out. Once 2 weeks out hit, you started to notice a decline in the strength. You're actually starting to lose muscle at that point. I knew it, but that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to come in a little bit lighter. But the bottom line was, I was getting stronger in the hypertrophy range. I was building muscle in the hypertrophy range, at the same time depleting the muscle of carbohydrates. So as you're building muscle, so let's say you have, you know, all this muscle right here in the bundles, right? All this muscle is like this. You have all this muscle right here. It's all carved up, right? Carved up. Carved the fuck up, like Durian Rider says, right? It's carved up. As you start to deplete that muscle, it actually starts to get smaller, right? The muscle starts to deflate. Okay, so the carbohydrates, this is carb depleting. It actually starts to deflate. So the muscle itself starts to get smaller. However, you're getting stronger because you're actually building muscle tissue with hypertrophy training. It's actually solid muscle tissue you're building, but you're basically pulling the water and the carbohydrates out of the muscle, making it deflate. By the time you get to the contest, you're really, really, really deflated and depleted. You're looking like shit, etc., etc. However, so this is like fully depleted here. Okay? So now you have carb the fuck up, carb depleted, and fully depleted. This is like the day of the show, right? This is the showdown. Now what happens is, the muscle that you've actually built that's deflated, which you actually look smaller now because you're depleted, as you start to fill that muscle back up again, the new muscle that you actually built, that is actually on your frame, when you come back here to carb the fuck up, these muscle fibers are so much fucking bigger because now you've actually built muscle, so this is built muscle, and they're carved up at the same time. So what happened was I went down to 181 pounds. When I came back up to 200 pounds, all of a sudden my shirts were tighter in the chest, tighter in the shoulders, tighter in the arms. Everything was tighter everywhere. I had actually built muscle on the way down while my strength was going up in the hypertrophy range while I was getting leaner. Now you don't always see it until the end because you wind up being so depleted here for the show that you figure, well, my muscles got smaller. So technically, as you're depleting your carbohydrates, you're in a caloric deficit, but you are still building muscle, okay? Once you carb the fuck back up, you actually see those new gains, because now the new gains, the new muscle you've built is actually inflated with water and carbohydrates, and it does supercompensate, but a week or two after the show, that supercompensation starts to subside, and I'm still bigger. I'm still stronger than I was at the beginning of the diet because of how I trained, how I ate, etc. This happens a lot, and this is going to be a little different. This happens a lot with women with their monthly cycles, and I can't believe I never talked about this before. I train a lot of women around the world, and every month I get these women contacting me, Jerry, I'm doing everything right. and I gained 6 pounds this week. I did my cardio, I followed my diet, I gained 6 pounds. When a woman's monthly cycle starts to happen, usually about the week before, the body's going to release a lot of fluids. It actually builds up fluids in anticipation for that to happen. So you retain water. Now, underneath that water that they're seeing, they're still losing fat, okay? As they're losing fat, that water's there, they can't see it. A lot of times they freak out and they go off the diet, they binge, they do things, they sabotage their own progress. However, I tell them, stay the course. Keep doing what you're doing. When that water finally comes off the week after your cycle, not only are you going to be back down the size you were, you're going to be smaller because you're actually losing fat still. So be aware, guys. Sometimes you can't see what's going on in your body. That's why you have to know what's going on in your body. These are the things that nobody talks about. They just go, wow, you know, I gained weight on the scale, I did this, I fucking got a new PR, and I'm like, all that shit is great, but how does it work? And they still haven't answered the, you know, how these things work. How this system all works, I don't fucking know scientifically, but I've done it and I've replicated it myself and my clients over and over again. So I know these variables are there. Do I have the science explanation for it? I don't have a fucking lab coat. I don't have a stethoscope. I don't have a PhD behind my name. I don't have an MD behind my name. I'm not a researcher. I'm a fucking bodybuilder. I'm a bodybuilder that's been in the gym for fucking 25 years experimenting, trying to figure out why and how these things work. Whereas these fucking newbies, and you know, they're intermediate newbies, 2 or 3 years, they've been training, they've read a fucking book and they're trying to push it on someone else. It's like, whoa, science just caught up with what I said. I mean, a lot of shit that I said 4 years ago when I hit YouTube, people were making fun of me for. Every single one of these motherfuckers have come around at one point or another and started to say the things that I was saying back then. Even the IFM junk guys are saying stuff like, at the end of the diet, you really have to tighten up your macros. Why? Because to get a certain point, you're going to have to control your macros. You're going to have to change those foods. You can't just fucking throw pizza in there. Well, some people can throw pizza, but most people are not going to be able to do it. They're saying stuff like all that high volume stuff with the powerlifting stuff. These are fucking young guys getting injuries. You know, like you need fucking all the volume. Well, fuck, all these volume guys are starting to cut back on their sets and getting better results. Like everything that I fucking said, people are starting to come around, and of course, they're not going to give credit where credit's due, and I don't really fucking care. As long as the information gets out there, because I've been doing it consistently, and I'll continue to do it consistently. But when I have someone say stuff like, oh, Jerry, well, that study was newbie gains. Okay, hang on a second. So because you've never trained with weights, does biology cease to exist in your body? Because if you're a newbie, so like, basically, you're a newbie, so your body goes, I don't know what a caloric deficit is. I don't know what a fucking caloric surplus is, so it doesn't matter. So we can do whatever we want. A body's a body, and it has fucking biology, and that's all there is to it. Whether you're a newbie or you're fucking someone who, you know, they're like, well, that person's really lean. That's why. No. It doesn't matter whether you're a fucking newbie or you're a fucking professional fucking bodybuilder or you're a fucking bobsledder. A human body is a human body. Now, granted, chemical reactions take place differently, but you can't say of someone who's trained in, you know, bodybuilding and a newbie, biology seems to apply and science seems to apply to that person, but not this person, because newbie gains, and Kevin Levrone just proved this shit the whole time he got ready for the fucking Olympia. That motherfucker grew into that goddamn fucking show and got leaner at the same time. And, you know, I had people saying, well, Jerry, how come all the pros don't do that? How come we don't have people doing it? You do. You are building muscle as you're losing fat, but this is what's happening. You're not seeing it until afterwards, and that fucking rebound that happens afterwards, that is part of the rebound. That is what sets the rebound up. That's why I tell people, if you're going to do an anabolic rebound, you can't just fucking train for it. You need to train your ass off, be depleted, and build that muscle at the same time for that rebound to happen and for you to see it. They are doing it, they just don't fucking realize it. They don't understand it. And I gotta give Levrone props for actually putting that out there, because all these guys are on fucking drugs. All these guys are fucking training. All these guys are eating food. But he proved what scientists say are fucking wrong. And if his body biologically can do it, why can't other people's? May not do it the same way, but other people can do it. I've seen it and I've done it. BiohazardTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biohazardtraining.com is a blog. It's the building muscle while losing fat bicep. It does happen, and we're out.